What is up, Stanio Clan? Yo, happy Sunday. It is good to be back. Missed last week. Welcome into Team Stanio Live, where we are talking all things real estate, news, and living in the Cincinnati area, Cincinnati and Northern Kentucky. It's Sunday afternoon. We're doing a little bit different time than we normally do. It's 12:55, 5 minutes until the Bengals kick off. And, so we're shaking things up a little bit here on schedule because I'm taping the game. I didn't want to come in and do the live at 7 p.m. and have someone shout out "Who Dey" or be like, "The Bengals suck." We'll talk about that. But very excited to talk about this show. The huge news, maybe it's a little clickbaity on the thumbnail you may have seen, but the Cincinnati market was down 40% year over year in September. So we're going to dig into that. What does that mean for you as a buyer or a seller, or just what does that mean economically for the Cincinnati real estate market? Are those numbers even legit? We're going to talk about that. Some other big news in the area that's impacting the economy locally. We're going to talk about the Western and Southern tennis tournament. And also, we've talked about this and made some shorts on the channel already, the Southern Railway and the sale of that, which is up on the November ballot. We're going to give some updates there to what's going on. There's some other news and some fun stuff we're going to look at as well in this live, but very excited to be here. Happy to be back. I just got back from vacation. As always, if you're watching, please feel free to jump in the chat. Let us know where you're watching from and any questions you have about living, news, real estate in the Cincinnati, Northern Kentucky area. Would love to answer those for you. I love being able to do this. I was sad that I didn't get to do it last week, but it's good to be back. So if you're getting ready to watch that Bengals game, we'll try to keep it kind of short today so you can hop over there and watch my boys Burrow and Chase carve up the Seattle Seahawks, hopefully. But we're back, baby. I mean, did you see Chase last week? 3 TDs, breaks the franchise record for amount of receptions in a game. Joe Burrow looked, dare I say, nimble in the pocket. He was moving, he was sliding, he was stepping up, he was making some off-script plays happen, and he was feeding the always effing open Jamar Chase, and it was fun to watch. So hopefully that happens again today. Again, we're doing the 1 o'clock. I don't know if it's always going to be 1 o'clock, but today I wanted to get back and watch that game tonight without it being ruined on the live. So just dropped my keys. Sorry about that, but very excited about that. Other news, what's going on here? Oh, the pie giveaway. So Stanio Clanio, if you are part of the Stanio Clanio, I'm going to show you guys this right here. The amazing Carrie Bance, Carrie Reichwein. Yep. Can you guys get a look at that apple pie right there? It is fall. It is pie season. If you're part of the Stanio Clanio, meaning you've bought or sold a house with us and our team, you got the invite that we're going to be doing a pie giveaway coming up. So I'm doing the hard work, people, in testing out various pies around the city so that we're bringing you the best. And I love pie. And when it comes to desserts, if I were to rank my top 5 categories of desserts, so you got your major categories of pie, cake, candy, ice cream, and what am I missing? Pie, cakes, candy, ice cream. What's the other major category of dessert? I'm blanking on it right now. But for me, anyway, pie's at the top. Pie's my number 1 favorite dessert. Hands down. My mom, amazing baker. She is in a line of descendant of grandmas in Michigan who are amazing bakers, making that homemade crust. So it depends. It's got to be the right pie. But very excited, Stanio Clanio. If you have used us as your realtor of choice in the past, free pie coming to your guys, so you can use it. You can either eat it or you can take it to one of your, if you got a Thanksgiving holiday. We're doing it the Sunday right before Thanksgiving. There's no Bengals game that day. You come in here to the office and we'll have a pie waiting for you, a very good pie that you can, just one less thing for you to do, right? If you're going to a party or an event, you can bring that and you can be the favorite of the party. So, all right, let's get into this real estate market. And as always, let me know what's going on. Actually, before we do that, let me show you guys a little bit about my vacation. So we just got back from Siesta Key down in Florida. We have some family down there. And so my wife's sister and her family and my wife's parents who just moved down there, got to hang out with them. But so we got some cousin time. We got some beach time with cousins, which was great. The kids got to do some parasailing, which they've never done before. So this is my son, Rafe. He turned 8 years old. So he had a birthday. He's right here, but he got to go out on the boat. Look at the fear right here. Ah! Love that. So they got to do some parasailing. I stayed home with my 3-year-old so that my wife could go do it. She's never done it before. Um, so I had a lot of fun doing that. There's Rafe. It was his birthday. There's my niece and my daughter, and we were on vacation. But so that's my 3-year-old Holt singing "AAA, I'm on vacation" every single day because I love my occupation, which is our go-to vacation song, and has been instilled in his brain. So that's us at Wicked Cantina in Sarasota, and had an awesome meal and enjoyed that time. Now, the hard thing I will say about you know, making it down to Florida with 5 kids is we don't do the flights, we do the drive, and we do the drive through the night, and so that's a challenge to do the drive through the night. Fortunately, we had some family there, so we could crash and sleep for a few hours, but it kinda takes you that day. Any of you know if you're from Cincinnati, there's a few I saw this meme a week or so ago where it's like, um Cincinnati either goes to like Myrtle Beach or Hilton Head, Gatlinburg or Florida. Those are like your main destinations. And I can relate to that. We went down to Florida this time, had a good trip. What's up, everybody? Rinketic Sports Agenda. You going to watch the game today? I am going to watch the game, but I'm watching it on NFL Game Pass later today so I can do some family events, some chores. We were on vacation, so I got to rake some leaves. I got to, we got some things to do around the house. Watching on Game Pass tonight, skip the commercials, doing the live a little bit earlier today so that we don't get any spoiler alerts. So if they score while I'm doing this live and you guys let me know, that's okay. First quarter spoilers are okay. But I didn't want to get in here I'm going to watch it with my friends later tonight. We basically put our cell phones down for the day, help with whatever we have to do with our family, and we are going to watch it tonight. All right, let's talk about this real estate market. Tabernacle chimed in and said, it's over. So if you saw the thumbnail, you saw that is the Cincinnati market having a crash? Well, let's get into that. Here's the headline. Home sales in Cincinnati dropped nearly 40% in September amid MLS and market woes. So let's talk about this. Is it the MLS woes? We've talked about that in the last few weeks about what's going on with the Cincinnati MLS. But let's see what's going on here in this article. This came out. What is today? Today is the 15th. This article came out on the 6th, so a little over a week ago. The number of homes sold in Greater Cincinnati last month is nearly 40% down from where it was 1 year ago. Now that's a big amount. I mean, I know the hey, I try, I'm a YouTuber, right? So I'm trying not to do I got to do a little bit of clickbait, right? But 40%, that's a pretty shocking number year over year. From the Greater Cincinnati Multiple Listing Service shows, but the leader of the local organization for realtors said more than just the red housing market is impacting September statistics. So let's look a little bit behind the curtain here and see what's going on. The volume, that's the key metric here. The volume of home sales took a massive hit as the region's real estate agents recover from the cyber attack on the MLS system in August. So we've talked about that on the show in the past. The Cincinnati MLS was hit with a cyber attack. We'll get into more of that here in the article. Home sales in Butler, Claremont, Hamilton, and Warren counties totaled 1,152 sales in September, according to data from the MLS. That's down 39.7% from last September when 1,909 homes were sold, and it represents a 22% reduction from this August. So that's a big hit. I'm not going to lie. That's a big hit. But why the big hit? That's what you're here for, right? Total home sales volume topped 385 million in September. That's almost a 26% drop from August when sales volume totaled more than 519 million. So year over year, 40%, and basically month over month, 28% drop from August to September in the Cincinnati MLS in the 4 major counties there. So that's a big drop, said Ann Uckman, president of the Realtor Alliance of Greater Cincinnati. I agree, Ann. It is very big. Keeping the ripple effect of the MLS cyber attack in mind is key to understanding it. It's a large drop. It's a large drop, and to look at it on paper, it is alarming, Uckman told the Courier. But we also went through a time period where we didn't have an MLS, so it was difficult for people to schedule showings. And we also went through a time period where we were with a new MLS and we had to do manual entries on a lot of those. So I will say this, I've mentioned this on the channel in the last few weeks. It's been a bit of a cluster in terms of the Cincinnati MLS. We were attacked. Our MLS went down. We scrambled. We went to a new system. That system didn't work great. And a lot of people held off. I would say that I would consider myself a little bit on the more tech savvy side of the real estate agent arena. Here in Cincinnati, I've got a YouTube channel for the peoples out there. I've got Instagram, social media. There are a few, and I just had my birthday this last week. I guess two weeks ago. I am 42 years old, so I guess I'm beyond middle age, as my friends in my chat let me know. I'm beyond middle age, but I'm still like, I don't know. I guess I'm old. I'm old. Okay, I'm 42, but there are a lot of real estate agents. There are a lot of realtors who are on the older side who, when I think the cyber attack hit and the switch to the MLS hit, didn't make the transition maybe as smoothly as a few others. For me and my team, and I've got the amazing Carrie Reichwein on the team. We switched over to Perchwell, and it wasn't just not being able to put up listings in the MLS. The other problem is that all of our buyer portals went right. They went away, and so we have close to 100 buyers who are they might not necessarily be in the market in the next 30 days, but they're on the lookout maybe the next 60, 90 days, or maybe even longer than that, maybe within the next 6 months or a year. And we've set up these buyer portals in the MLS that says, okay, we have a meeting with you to discuss your search criteria. We try to narrow it down to certain neighborhoods, the type of house you want, the budget. And when those new properties hit the MLS, they're going to be emailed to you through our MLS portal. All that went gone, right? Now we at Team Stanyo, we transitioned that really quickly to Perchwell, the new MLS that was put in place. And we set those up, and there was some kinks with that, and whether that was all being sent out the right way. But imagine, we're probably, I would say, on the like more tech savvy side of the realtors here in Cincinnati. And there's maybe a scale and a spectrum. And on that curve, there's maybe some real estate agents who aren't as tech savvy, and maybe they didn't make that transition for their buyers quite as fast. And so not only are you not getting listings in the MLS, but you also have all these buyer portals. Now, a lot of people, to be fair, they don't just look at the MLS for their portal. So they're going to look at Zillow. You might look at Zillow. You might look at realtor.com. You might look at Trulia or other sites where, the MLS feeds are syndicated out. So, but all of that information in Cincinnati, because the MLS was down, was basically old information. So let's keep reading this article, but I'm trying to give you guys a little context for what's happening here. Certainly, I would say the market is cooling. We'll talk about that a little bit. But also the MLS being a cluster in September, as we probably expected, had an impact on the market. So the drop is likely, going back to the article, a combination of those MLS struggles and other factors in the market, Uckman believes. Among those, there's the high interest rates, low inventory, and the market starting to enter what's typically a slower home buying season. During the outage, some homes were listed on the Columbus or Dayton area MLS as an alternative. So this is for sure true. Several factors all kind of hit at once as to why we're seeing a 40% decline year over year. The MLS struggles, certainly one of them, as I just outlined, both in being able to put listings in. And I know for my sellers, in terms of the listings, we did 3 different strategies. One seller, I said, let's wait, let's see what happens. But then after a week, we're like, look, it's not changing, but we can do it here. Let's do it here. Boom. We got, that home was able to sell relatively quickly because we're kind of selling it undervalued as in an as-is condition. So those kind of properties still go fast. Had a couple other listings where we had to put them in the Dayton. So I had to sign up to be on the Dayton MLS and put the listing out there. Now, Dayton was able to then syndicate it to Zillow and everywhere else, because it's not like we were looking for a Dayton buyer necessarily. Now, one of them I was, because it was a Middletown listing, which is in between Cincinnati and Dayton. It's very creatively named Middletown, because it's in the middle of Cincinnati and Dayton. And, we're really creative here in the Midwest. So, but 2 listings I had to put on the Dayton MLS, and then the Cincy got fired back up and we put it on the new system. But certainly that was an issue. Then there's the seasonality, which is everyone's back in school. And so when you see, the height of the real estate market, it's really like that May, June, July. August, it starts to slow down a bit. September, it slows down a little bit more. I showed this. Go look at the last live I did. I've got the charts from the MLS showing that data going from, July, August, September. You can see the bar charts in terms of amount of inventory that's out there and the amount of units sold. So seasonality was certainly part of it. Interest rates certainly is part of it. Rates keep going up, and buyers are like, I don't want to buy at 7%, 7.5%. And so that's certainly a factor. So it's a combination is what I'm trying to say. 40% year over year, big number. But primarily you're seeing that in the volume of units sold, because there's a lot of people who said, I'm just going to wait this MLS out, and they didn't put it on, or there was people not getting those updates. There's a lot of scrambling going on because of the MLS problems, but also seasonality. This is kind of where the part of the year where it goes down leading into winter. It kind of goes down a little bit month over month. But I will say this in terms of the MLS update, I won't be surprised at all if I'm sitting here 2 weeks from now reading an article about October sales, or maybe 3 weeks from now, and it'll say record-breaking October, right? Because potentially a lot of those sales that slowed in September got pushed back a few weeks, got under contract mid-September, closed mid to late October, and now year over year, October sales are up 20%. It's probably going to even itself in terms of the MLS. And if sellers were waiting to put it on to see what happened to be resolved, I think that part will be, I would be very much not surprised at all if I'm sitting here in a few weeks and go like, hey guys, look, Cincinnati market is booming. And I'll do a new clickbait thumbnail of Cincinnati market. We're back, baby. Just like Jamar and Burrow, we are back on top in a few weeks. So I wouldn't be surprised at all to see that, because overall, the market hasn't changed that much. Inventory is still relatively low. Now, days on market maybe is creeping up a little bit with the interest rates, but people still want to buy here. People are still moving here. It's still an affordable city. It's still an attractive city in the Midwest. The economy is still strong in the area. And so it's not like the bottom's falling out or anything like that. It's just kind of a weird, funky month. It was a weird, funky month. How's that for analysis? Top rate analysis from your favorite YouTube realtor expert. Okay, where were we? The market is in Greater Cincinnati slowly changing, Uckman said, but it will still take some time to see if that's the market entering winter season or making a permanent adjustment. Uckman noted that looking at the year-to-year data for the region, September does look drastically different. It does. Home sales volume is also down 25% from last year. Uckman is a veteran she's a vet. She's a vet, guys. She's a veteran of the real estate industry, selling homes during the financial crash of 2008. Though Uckman said she's unsure if the drop in home sales volume is worse than some of the initial months of the COVID-19. She said some of the other stats seen in September, like a median of 13 days on the market for homes in the region, aren't as bad. It's a big relief from previous months this year when homes sat on the market for less than a week, sometimes as short as just 3 days. I'll take 13 days on the market any day, Uckman said in comparison to 2008 and 2009. Now, I think now I've got to give a little bit of props to Ann here. We had a few behind the scenes realtor. Actually, let me read this and then I'll tell you what's going on, because I want to give some praise to Ann for navigating a very tricky situation and a lot of realtors who are very angry with pitchforks. The Greater Cincinnati MLS switched its software service provider from Rapatoni to Perchwell. So Rapatoni is a system that got hacked, and it was down for an indefinite amount of time. And all the realtors were like, do something. Like, we don't have an MLS. And so we switched to Perchwell, which was the system that we were building behind the scenes. It was a newer system that was selected by the president and this committee, but it wasn't ready. And so which the MLS was already under contract with around last year after the MLS cyber attack in August. That rollout came with some initial bugs and missing features that were difficult for real estate agents. For example, we couldn't create comp reports. And I would say that as a real estate agent, when you are trying to meet with a seller and say, hi, Mr. or Mrs. Seller, we want to help share with you what your home is worth. And here's a beautiful report looking at homes in your neighborhood with similar features and size and bedrooms and square feet and bathrooms and condition. And here's what they sold for. And here's how long they were on the market. And we think you should price your home at this price to make a proper pricing strategy, to get buyers in the door, to get your home sold faster and for more money and for less hassle for you. That's our job. That's one of our jobs here as real estate agents. With the new MLS, we couldn't do that. We couldn't make reports. And so real estate agents were very angry with this new system of Perchwell. So Uckman said that the missing features were slowly getting added, but it was an adjustment for agents. Because of that, the Real Estate Agents of Greater Cincinnati members filed a petition to hold a member vote seeking to switch back to Rapatoni as the primary MLS provider. That vote succeeded, to my chagrin, I would say. That vote succeeded 2-1, which I find a little bit crazy, that realtors were like, hey, let's go back to the system that was hacked. So a little inside baseball, sorry, but that's what's going on behind the scenes, and all of that made for kind of a very, very funky September. And it's still weird because we're going back to Rapatoni now. It's like an 8-week process for about to go back, said Uckman. And one thing she said with MLS switches slow down, Uckman said the board will reevaluate the best path forward for a long-term provider. So it's possible that we even go back to Perchwell or a different system. I would love for you guys to use Flex MLS, which is the system used in Northern Kentucky. It seems very much to make sense to me to use the same system in both Northern Kentucky and Ohio. But hey, I'm not on the board. So we're going back to Rapatoni as a temporary solution. It's going to take a few months to get back to it. And in the meantime, Uckman says it's still a good time to buy a house in Cincinnati. Ting. Our median sales prices are still great. Our average days on market are still great. It's still a great time to sell. And again, it's still a great time to buy. So I hope people just remember that. Now, I will say to Anne, poor Anne, she got put in a really difficult situation. We had a MLS that got hacked, an out-of-date MLS that got hacked. And people were like, change the system. And so we changed. And we rolled out this new one, and then it kind of stunk, and everyone was like, change it back. And they were very mad at her. And then we did this thing where we forced them to have this vote on whether we were going to stay with the system or go back. And she was, there's this Q&A session. If you guys have ever been, whatever you work, if you've ever been a part of a vote where you've got hundreds or thousands of voices all talking at once, and it's I felt so bad for her kind of navigating this meeting, because it was very clear to me after watching, we kind of had a live Zoom with all of the members involved. They were they were doing their best to make the best decision for realtors. Very clear to me that was the case. And I think had I been in their shoes, I would have probably made the exact same decisions, except for maybe the original MLS choice I would have made. I probably would not have chosen one that was a new startup. It looks like to me, Perchwell is a system that could be great, and it has a lot of cool features, but I probably would have gone with someone with a system that was proven, that had some newer functionality that we wanted. But, again, I didn't run to be on that board. And so I didn't make that decision. I trust those people to make those decisions that are in our best interest. I'm going to get out. I'm going to get beyond this. Okay. I'm sorry. There's probably a few realtors who are on here who are like, yeah, everyone else. Bottom line, just to kind of wrap this up, sales were down. Sales volume was down 40%, not sale prices. We're not seeing price drops. We're seeing a little bit of price drop, but nothing major. So what does that mean for you if you're a buyer or seller? I'm going to say this because I say it multiple times. in this current market, but I'll say it again. If you're a seller, if you are a seller, it's still a good time. It is still a good time to sell because you've benefited from 5 straight years of solid appreciation and you have a ton of equity in your house. So if you are looking to upsize, if you're looking to downsize, if you need to move to another city altogether, it's a good time to sell your house because inventory is still low. Okay. And if you go back, I don't remember the title of the video I did, but I did one where I showed the stats of what do you want to do? What do you want to do with all the equity you have in the house? Because it's like 75% of Americans who own a home own at least 50% equity in their house, which is a mind-boggling stat. And it's like 35% of people own their house outright. Now, you could just chill on your house forever because of where rates are, or you could cash out that equity. You might be able to buy another house with cash with the equity you have. So if you're a seller, you're still in good shape. The MLS, we've got it figured out. We can put your house out there. There are inventory needs. Now, I would say time of year, we're on that kind of downtrend until we get to basically next spring. Doesn't mean you can't sell your house in the fall and the winter. Certainly you can. And the good news is that the people who are out there buying, they're very serious in buying. And the other good news is that you typically have less competition from sellers this time of year. So if you're working with a realtor, be smart about your pricing and marketing strategy. You can get that home sold. You can do a great job. If you are a buyer right now, it's a decent time to buy, all things considered. Now, interest rates being higher, yeah, that's not, but they could go higher still, right? And so what I mean from a market standpoint, you start to see at this time of year, seasonality wise, even though you don't have a lot of inventory out there, some of that inventory stays out a little bit longer. And if that inventory is on the market for 7, 10, 14 days plus, those sellers are probably sweating a little bit. And if you can find a house where the seller is sweating it a little bit, that could be a good time to strike in terms of an offer. You can probably, if you don't have competition from other buyers, which you see less of that this time of year and heading into winter, it could be a good time to buy. So got a few people jumping in here. Hi, Cincinnati is way out of control. All the old houses are in prices with a new one. How can a single earner can buy? It's absurd. All the old houses are in price with the new one. How can a single? Yeah, I mean, I don't think Cincinnati is alone in this. I think what you're saying, Hamid, is thank you for commenting, by the way, is housing prices are up. So will we see a correction? Maybe. Like, we haven't seen it yet, even with the higher interest rates. Can we see that going into next year if the economy continues to slip into recession? Maybe. What we've seen here in Cincinnati compared to other cities is, relatively speaking, it's an affordable place to live, in terms of cost of living compared to other major US cities. And so people are still moving here and inventory is still low. Builders are building new developments, but they're not catching up. And so because there's high demand and low supply, yeah, it's home prices go up. It's simple economics. And so what does that mean if you're a buyer and you're really struggling to save up? I mean, there's certain loan programs where you could do a less down payment. You could do a 10%, 5%, 3.5% down, something like that. That's one way to do it. Or you need to, one thing to do is temper your expectations. And I agree with you. The people who I think are getting hurt the worst in this situation are first-time home buyers. And the properties that get the most activity and the most offers still are those houses that are in the, the first-time home buying range. So 150 to 250, kind of in that range. And those houses they're not going to be as nice. Let's just face it. And if one is in that price range that is in pretty good condition, it's still going to get like 5 offers. So you have to be aggressive. And that's a challenge. I totally get that. And so, but the idea is kind of save up and how can a single earner, yeah, you've got to save. It's really challenging. If you want to talk to different finance people about some low down payment options, hit me up, Hamid. I'd love to talk to you about that. And then we could talk about areas that could be in your price point. So, good question. Your Honor is asking, what area should I look for a small condo? I need to be close to the Children's Hospital. That's a great question. So there's a lot of condos nearby. I would say, Your Honor, you can find a lot of condos in that 200K range. And you can find a lot of options around the city that have good access into Children's Hospital. So Children's Hospital, I don't know if this is for employment or if you have a need where you're there as a you have a need personally, but to be there. But if you're working there, I would definitely not look over Northern Kentucky, because there's a few options where you can find a condo. I mean, there's several around, but I would look, Alexandria or Independence, or even Tuscany and Covington. Depends on how new you need your condo to be. I mean, there's cheaper options that are condos that are going to be older, like built in the 80s, 90s, early 2000s in Florence, Burlington. On the Cincinnati side, there are some a little bit on the west side. Price Hill, you could find something over there. I'm trying to think that would be like same. You can find some that are going to be 15, 20 minutes within downtown on the Ohio side as well. Typically, you're finding those single. You can find them. So hit me up. We can certainly do a search for you. Um, Anderson, I think, is a great area to find those as well, because there's a couple access on the east side of Cincinnati, but maybe Mount Washington, Anderson Township area. You can take 275 to 471 in, or you can take 50 or 52 into the city. So those are a few options for you. Hope that helps. Email us or at info@teamstanyo.com can help you out with more. But yeah, would love to talk to you about that and help you find a small condo. Alex, what's up? Are the Bengals going to win today? Of course. We're back, baby. We're back. Jamar and Joe are back. I don't know. We're a half hour in. I don't know the score yet. I'm not going to look at the score. Don't tell me the score yet. I want it to all be a surprise. But if Joe continues to not have setbacks, I think probably looks like Seattle has a pretty explosive offense as well. This could be a pretty high scoring game today, would be my guess. So hopefully Bengals win like 31-28, something like that. It's your son for treatment. Okay, thank you. Gotcha. So yeah, definitely reach out to us. Would love to help you out. A lot of Cincinnati Children's, if you guys don't know, is the #1 children's hospital in the nation. So there's a lot of people coming here for treatment, moving here. Other places, Blue Ash. I'm thinking up I-71 a little bit, Oakley area, Kenwood area, Silverton. You might be able to find something there, even as far north as like Montgomery or something like that, Madeira. Those might be a little bit more expensive in those areas, but trying to get easy interstate access where you're like 20 minutes or in, you can definitely find those. So yeah, hit me I'll put it right here, info@teamstanyo.com. Would love to help you more on that. Thanks for asking. Okay, let's move on. Some big other economic news here locally is we've been talking about this, but the Western Southern Open is staying in Cincinnati. Announces news with Novak Djokovic and Coco Gauff, who just recently won the U.S. Open. So this is a huge open. It looked for sure, because there was a new owner from South Carolina. It looked like he was going to be taking the tournament with him to South Carolina, where he's from, Bomberan. And so, yeah, Novak announced this. He said, your wonderful tournament is staying in Cincinnati, which is awesome. In 2025, it's also going to expand to 2 weeks of competition. That's huge. So this is actually, I'm sorry, I said South Carolina. I meant North Carolina. The tournament's Cincinnati future was in question after the city council in Charlotte, North Carolina, voted to move forward with a proposed $400 million 40-court tennis complex in hopes of winning over the tournament from the owner, BMOC Capital, who's from Charlotte, North Carolina, and bringing the event. So it sure looked like the owner was from North Carolina. They were moving forward. It looked like they were going to take it. I mean, why wouldn't he build it? But we won. Cincinnati won. This is awesome. This is huge for the region. Over 200,000 people attended the 2023 Southern Open. This is a huge, important piece for this event. That was a key component to realize what this means to the greater Cincinnati area. Now, also, we ponied up. So a lot of the business community, state and local lawmakers were matching the $130 million, $50 million from the state, $50 million from Warren County, and $30 million from the city of Mason. So we basically matched what BMIC was offering. So they're getting it for a discount, $130 million discount for this $260 million expansion. But good for Cincinnati. I mean, this is huge. It's going to stay here. will stay in Mason for the next 25 years as part of the deal, Moran said. That's amazing. I'm almost speechless. The Mason mayor, Barbara Space, said this is the best news that we could have had. The tournament, which draws hundreds of thousands of fans and tennis stars such as Venus and Serena Williams and Roger Federer, is the country's longest running professional tennis tournament played in its original city, and will celebrate its 125th anniversary next year. So well done. Like, this is huge. Huge win for the city, not just because like it's fun to watch, but to show you guys the economic development that, boost that this brings to the city is really big. So it's changing to a 2-week tournament. So there's going to be a lot of expansion in terms of courts, in terms of the size of it, in terms of the length and duration, and it's going to bring over $150 million to the region. So a huge win economically for Cincinnati. Excuse me. And this video does a good job of laying it out. I mean, it's such a great way you can get so close to these, the best tennis stars in the world. Here you see a picture of Novak signing autographs. So it's going to 2 weeks of play. They reached a deal. But so I want to show this chart. I thought this was really interesting. The economic impact of major events here in the city. The 2025 Western and Southern Open is expecting to have $152 million impact. The Cincinnati Music Festival is $107 million. Taylor Swift Eras Tour concerts, which was here, that brought in $92 million to the region. Versus, I'm curious about this, but the Cincinnati one Bengals playoff game was $9 million boost. So this source was brought to you by the Cincinnati Business Chamber, University of Cincinnati Economics. But look at that. That's what a huge impact compared to all these different regional events. And the reason why is it's so long, right? You're going to get it for 2 straight weeks every night. And it brings so many out-of-towners to the region. So half of the 23 tournament attendees came from another state, according to ticketing data from Bob Moran, the president of BMOC Sports Entertainment. And it drew fans from 20 different countries and 50 states. So unlike a day trip to Kings Island or a Cincinnati Bengals game, out-of-town guests will spend and sightsee in the region for 2 full weeks. So that means people are coming to the hotels, they're coming to restaurants, they're shopping in your stores. And so that's really incredible. And that's, 3 straight years where you're seeing that percent of the people from Ohio versus percent of people from outside of the greater Cincinnati area. So that's huge. It's not just a tennis tournament. It's beyond that. So that's big news for the economy. Super glad to see that. So well done. Well done, Cincinnati. I'm so happy. I texted my friend who's a huge tennis fan that we're keeping this, and he was like, yes, he was so excited. So good job. Really, really, really glad to see that stay here in Cincy. That moves us to our next story, which is that Fischer Homes is planning a $50 million suburban Cincinnati development in Wadestone. So I'll get out there, I'm sure, and do some videos in times to come. But Cincinnati's largest home builder, Fischer Homes, is planning a $50 million 90-home development in one of the city's northern suburbs. Grand Communities LLC, the development arm of Erlanger-based Fischer Homes, is planning to build 93 homes on a 48-acre near West Factory Road in Springboro. Total sales for the community named the Wadestone are expected to be $50 million. We expect to see considerable demand for Wadestone given the area's limited opportunity for new construction and the incredible location, Elizabeth Breinstein, market president for Fischer Homes Dayton division, said in a news release. Now, if you see that, Cincinnati's largest home builder is building in Cincinnati's northern suburbs, but it's the Dayton's PR person, Elizabeth Breinstein, said in a news release. So that's what I want to show you guys. Is this is going up in Springboro, and it's going. We'll talk about the types of homes here. There's Elizabeth. Where is it? Austin Landing. There it is. The housing community will sit minutes away from Dorothy Lane Market and Austin Landing, 2 of the region's top shopping destinations. Now, before I got into real estate, I actually I own my own little marketing company, internet marketing company. I did some marketing for Austin Landing when it was first created, which is kind of, there's a business, mixed retail, whole business center up there in Austin Landing. So that was really, to see that happening, that's really interesting. I just had said on the channel a few weeks ago that Fischer had announced the plans to build in Mason and Batavia. The Mason development is Duke Crossing, and the Batavia is Harvest Meadows. There's a $120 million 400 homes community. So that's a huge one that they're building out on the east side of Cincinnati. But this Austin Landings, I just want to show you guys this on the map real quick. Let me go ahead and go full screen. Where is Springboro and Austin Landing? It is right up here. So Austin Landing is Austin Landing's right here off this exit. Springboro's just south of it. So you've got 90 homes going up here. And this goes back to just the first point I was saying for this video in general, which was home sales were down 40% in Cincinnati month over month. But overall, the inventory is still low. That's why new construction that's why Fischer Homes is continuing to announce a 400 home development here, a 90 home development here, because inventory overall in the region is still down, is still low. And so, yes, sales were down in September. A lot of that was the MLS, as we detailed earlier in the episode here. But overall, larger on the market, having zooming out in the market is that we need more housing here, and new construction homes are continuing to sell. So going back to this map, and coming off of that news of the Western and Southern Open, which is staying in Mason, right here on the north side of city. And I've mentioned this before, but what you're seeing from these developers is where development growth is going is in between Cincinnati and Dayton, and in between I think you're going to also see in between Cincinnati and Columbus in the months and years to come here. You'll see more development off of this corridor, especially because Columbus is growing and landing more and more business projects. The Intel factory that's going in with chips being built in Columbus, that's going to have a huge impact. And so you're seeing, like, if you see this zoomed out here, right, this triangle of Cincinnati, Dayton, and Columbus, and you look at it from a satellite perspective, you can see where the burbs and kind of the development is like growing between Cincinnati and Dayton, right up the I-75 corridor here. And so we've done some previous videos here in Lebanon, where Shaker Run is. I'm trying to find that. Let me do this real quick. Shaker Run Golf Club. Okay. So Fischer Homes has been doing they've been making this development here in Shaker Run around the golf course. And you can see that's like on the north side of Cincinnati, just north of Mason, by Monroe and Lebanon here. And I mentioned Middletown earlier in the episode. And this new development is just a few exits up further north. And so you're seeing kind of the scrunching, sorry, it just keeps showing things. The scrunching together of Dayton and Cincinnati. You're seeing the sprawl a little bit of these neighborhoods, and you're seeing this, 90 home, $50 million development coming up. Now the homes that are going up, and like I said, I'm sure I'll do more. I think they are the masterpiece. Yep. So it's going to be a blend. The majority of the development, 48 homes, will be their designer homes. So that's their second tier. Maple Street is their lowest collection in terms of price point. Designers one level up. So you're probably going to see homes, I would guess, starting in the 350s to upper 300s, and probably in the 400s. That's the designer. And their 27 masterpiece homes, those are going to be likely starting in the 500s, would be my guess, mid 500s, and then 18 patio homes. Now the patio homes, you might actually even get some of those starting in the upper 200s. We did one of, let me look real quick here. Whoops. I've been on vacation. I haven't logged in a while, guys. Let me go to, actually, let me go to my channel. Oh, you guys are seeing the back end. Hey, by the way, 4,680 subscribers. Thank you very much. We're closing in on that 5,000. So thank you so much. If you haven't subscribed to the channel yet, please do so now. Click this like button if this is helping you. Oh no, videos. I wanted to show you the up here. So these patio homes up in Summerlin Farms. Um, so Summerlin Farms, they're under 300,000. Here's what these patio homes look like. Uh, Show you guys a little bit of the if you haven't seen this video yet. But they're on a slab. You can get a basement, but they're basically connected to one other home, and you can get it for under 300,000, which is great. Um, Here's what it looks like on the inside. So new construction under 300. Anyway, that is what is going on in economic development. So there you go. Western Southern big win. Fisher Homes building new houses. Few other stories, and then we'll jump out of here. And you guys can go watch the Bengals win. I'll watch it later today. One quick story here. Just wanted to give you guys an update on this. The railway, the Southern Railway. We've seen a bigger push of PR coming from the mayor and the Democratic Party in general, saying like, "Hey, we really want to sell the Southern Railway." If you guys don't know about this, it's an asset that the city owns. They're looking to sell it to Norfolk Southern. They want to take those funds, stick it in a trust that can't be touched by politicians. Now, whether you believe that's going to happen or not, that's like what I think a lot of people, when I see in the comments, are like, I never want that to happen because I don't trust politicians to not get their hands on that money. But we're seeing a bigger PR push. I'm seeing TV commercials. You're starting to see mailers where the Democratic committee, the mayor, the city council, which is like 99% Democrat, is all saying we want to sell the railway because they want to take that money. And here there was an article that came out. If you guys want to look this up, Cincinnati Railroad say they would pay for more road fixes, new firehouses, and more in a $250 million plan. So this article by Sharon Coolidge, she's like Mrs. Cincinnati for the Inquirer in terms of politics. She's all over the PG Sittenfeld case, what's going on there. She's been tracking that for years, and also this railway case and what's going on here. But she details where that money is going to go. The goal of this is to alleviate voter concerns. That money would be spent on frivolous and non-essential things. So the $250 million Cincy On Track plan includes big ticket repairs to parks, health center renovations, park upgrades, and $48 million for street repairs, according to a report set to be discussed Tuesday by Cincinnati City Council. So you can see this whole plan here, where it's going. I think, yeah, this going to fire stations. And basically the pitch from the mayor is saying like, look, we are, let me see if I can find his exact quote. But he basically says, maybe it's in this other one. He's like, look, we're at a loss here, guys. Did I close that other article? Some of his rhetoric. He says it's the most important vote and the most important issue in my brief time as a mayor, whether that's 4 or 8 years. If the sale doesn't pass, he added, the city's choices are reduce the footprint of the city or raise property taxes. If it doesn't pass, we are on a steady decline in the city. So some pretty like strong verbiage from the mayor saying like, look, we've got to pass this. And if not, the city's going to shrink. The city's services are going to shrink. So he's pushing really hard for this. It's a big deal. It definitely is a big deal. And so the vote is coming up on the issue for the November vote. My guess is that it's going to pass because there's such a strong push from everyone on city council basically and the mayor. And so I would assume that their PR push is going to win here. But I could be wrong. People could be like, no, that's an asset. We want to keep that. The idea is that they're going to actually be able to produce more money from putting it in the trust and the investment dollars spun off from that trust than what they get from the current lease from Norfolk Southern every year. The downside is you lose an asset, right? You lose it for all time. And the question is, do you trust the politicians both now and in the future to not get their grubby little hands on it? And that's where, there's such a lack of trust, I think, for local politicians or politics in general, that people are like, no, we don't want you to sell that. That's an asset for the city. We need that going forward. Why don't you go renegotiate the lease and see if you can get more money that way? And I think that's probably what most of the critics are saying. So that's happening. Okay. That's the update there on the railroad. Now, just for fun, just for kicks and giggles, before we get off here, wanted to show you guys this luxury home in Anderson Township, $4.9 million, which includes an elevator and billiards room, because who doesn't like to see a $4.9 million home? Maybe if you can't afford a home at all, it's not super fun, but sometimes it's fun to look at the lifestyles of the rich and famous, right? So here's this home in Anderson Township. Is built, I believe, by Zika Homes. It's in Coldstream Country Club. Bob Dorger and his son Robbie of Comey and Shepherd are the listing agents. They're also trying to bring more attention to it for the high-end real estate market in Anderson Township, because it is growing. There's several homes. Homerama was there a few years ago, and you've got some really cool views of the river. So there's some high-end real estate going in Anderson Township. Now, I would say, to where I was in Siesta Key, high-end luxury real estate in Cincinnati is relative compared to some other places of the country, but you can get a lot for your house for a few $1,000,000 here in Cincinnati compared to some other places. Riverview Estates is being built by Zika Homes, a high-end custom home builders that have been building it since 1967. This is off of Ayers Road. The property was built by founder Mike Zika. Oh, this home was actually built in 2013 by Mike Zika. So he built his own home. The quality and attention to detail are second to none, especially for his own primary residence. So if you're going to buy a house, why not buy the house that the builder built for himself? The home is perfect for entertaining families. It has 5 ensuite bedrooms, including an owner's suite, 7 full bathrooms. There are 5 half baths, a granite pool, and a 5-car garage. The home is 3 levels and spans nearly 13,000 square feet, but Dorger believes it doesn't feel that way. It doesn't feel like 13,000 square feet. The layout and design make the house feel manageable and not too overwhelming, with elevator access included. Let's take a look. So here's what 13,000 square feet looks like in Anderson Township. Coldstream Country Club. That's pretty. Beautiful exterior lighting. You got the stone. Look at that entryway. Gotta love the coffered ceilings. Gorgeous. So, hey, if you're out there and you've got $4.9 million and you'd like to buy this home, Team Stanio, we're here for you. Anyway, just wanted to show you guys this. Sometimes it's fun to look at these houses. This popped up as there's not a ton of these in Cincinnati, Northern Kentucky, so much so that the business courier does like a monthly. They're like, here are the houses that have sold. And generally luxury real estate in Cincinnati is in that 2 million range for mansions, but it's gone up a little bit in recent years, and the market for it has stayed pretty steady, I must say. There was one in Edgewood, Kentucky that is being auctioned off. I think it was around 8 million, but they're auctioning it off here, and I'm not sure if that auction has happened yet or not. That's a beautiful room. So there you can see the view of the Ohio River behind it. I could work in that office. Could you guys see my YouTube videos in that office instead of where we're at here with the Burrow and Chase in the background? Yeah. Sell a few more houses, and maybe my family can move here one day. You can dream. We could all dream, right? It's America. I'm trying to get some views of the river here. That's pretty. So that's looking into Coldstream Country Club. Some of the other houses around. Where's that view? There it is. So there's a view. You've got these Ohio River views. So here in Anderson Township, you got the Ohio River views, and you're probably from this neighborhood, I would guess 20 to 25 minutes to downtown. Let's take a look. The nice thing about living on Anderson Township, which I did for about 8 years, is that you've got multiple ways to get into downtown. Let's go to the ballpark. Great American Ballpark. Oh, less 17 minutes. Man, that's awesome, because you got that back doorway into I-275 and 471. You'll take that way in, but if you ever hit some major traffic here, you just pop onto 52 and headed in town that way. And so it's always nice to have a couple of routes out of downtown, in my opinion, so that if there is bad traffic. But look, you could be in this mansion 17 minutes from downtown. Hit me up if you want to get it. All right, guys. Hope you enjoyed the rest of your Sunday. That's going to do it for this live stream. Hope you enjoyed that. If it was helpful for you, please hit that like button, subscribe to the channel, join the Staniel Clanyo. Again, pie giveaway coming up soon. We love being a part of this network. The pie giveaway is not the only thing we've done. We've done a indoor golf simulator event, which was really fun. Then we did the Newport Aquarium, and then we did Reds games for those of our clients. And we're continuing to do those events into the fall here with this pie giveaway, and hopefully more to come. That's either good for you, or maybe it's a date night for you and your loved one, or maybe it's maybe it's bring the whole family. So we've tried to do events for both. Starting to get tongue-tied here. If you look at the logo in my top right of the screen here, it's the Roebling Bridge, but it's a table underneath, because our tagline is find your home, strengthen your family. So the bridge for our logo is we're going to help you find your home. We're going to, whether that's buying or selling a home, we're going to help you bridge to the next section. Plus the Roebling is an iconic bridge of Cincinnati. So I love that. The table is strengthen your family, because I think that the dining room table is the symbol of strength in a house, right? Have some meals with your family, talk about life, put the screens down, do what you can to train the next generation. So that's kind of the tagline here. You might not have kids, that's okay. But that's what we love to do here. And it's an incredible honor to be able to do that, to help people who are both living here in the area, whether you're looking to buy or sell in the area, or if you're looking to move to Cincinnati, say, hey, here's what our city's all about. Here's the neighborhoods you can check out. Team Sanyo is here to help you find your home, strengthen your family. So guys, thank you so much for watching the live. Hoo day. Have a great rest of your Sunday afternoon.